Hi, everybody. Okay, the Board of Directors is empowered to bestow the honorary title of Companion of CPTM on persons closely associated with CPTM who've made outstanding, valuable contribution to the movement. The title's the highest award and was for the first time awarded in the year 2002. Companions are the link with the achievements and heritage of CPTM. The recipients of the award are recognised for helping to energise an international effort to exploit the benefits of technology to enrich the lives of people in the Commonwealth developing countries. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni was an early recipient in 2005, and he said, "CPTM is a factory of generating ideas. There's a severe deficit in generating correct and tested ideas. That is why the world is in crisis. Ideas cannot be generated by bureaucrats. To sort out the issues of the world, ideas must be generated by the people with a proven record of solving problems." There you go. So, Mihaela will tell you more about this shortly, and we welcome you all to this great celebration of achievements, and I hand you over now to Mihaela to introduce the Companion Awards.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike sees the CPTM Companion Award, the Companions of CPTM Award has been introduced as always being one of the best master of ceremony for this special moment in the CPTM members dynamics. The first CPTM Companion Award is Professor Noel Zabardami. He was director of CPTM board, and for that reason he was not actually given a companionship up to now. Those who are serving on the board, it was an agreement on the board that while they are serving the board, they don't receive the CPTM companion. So I want to introduce Mrs. You introduce. Okay? Introduce Tanshi Oma, the chairman of CPTM, to read a few, only very few words about Noel.
Okay. My role here switches rather to introducing two of CPTM's greatest contributors in their own right, who will make the citations, and it's very important that we have these people with us to deliver the citations to our new companions. Why me? Well, I guess there's some common threads. Oxford University chemistry doctorates, we share some background there, and links with Bristol and Cambridge universities, my long career in the chemical industry internationally as well. And not surprisingly, I was recruited by Mihaela, would you believe, in Geneva, where I was working at the time with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. So there is no escape from that, I fear. But now to introduce Tansri Omar, I must do. Academician extraordinary. Omar's been awarded honorary doctorates by no less than 8 international universities, including proudly my own city of Bristol, UK. So he's been science advisor to the Prime Minister of Malaysia, been on the UN Advisory Committee on Science and Technology for Development, and UNESCO's International Scientific Council for Science and Technology Policy Development. These are just a few of the host of organisations that Omar has led, and led in the development and deployment of high technology for the good of millions of other people. So the achievements really do go on and on and on for Omar. I guess here we recognise him for his visionary leadership of CPTM over 18 years, and he's thriving and prospering on regular injections of the virulent Mihaila disease. What a survivor. What better credentials for the man to read the companionship citation to our late beloved Noel Zabadani. Please.
Thank you, Lord. I have been immunized. The passing of any member of a family takes away something irreplaceable. But if any event justifies us defying grammatical logic and calling someone very irreplaceable, it is the passing from our Smart Partnership family on the 18th of February this year of our distinguished Smart Partner, dear departed friend, and now to be honored companion, Professor Noel Zabadani. Noel was acutely aware of how being a Smart Partner is something special, but not something separate. Whatever it is, grows organically out of character and experience. This is underlined by the variety of tasks, achievements, and distinction at different levels and in the different fields which Noel packed into his life. A Rhodes Scholar, a trainee brewer, project officer, and becoming a general manager of that corporation, director of the Bank of Valletta, professor of inorganic chemistry, chief executive and surveyor of the Malta Dry Dock Corporation, pioneer in joint ventures with Eastern Bloc countries, tasked by the Maltese government with a lead role for encouraging FDI into Malta, member of the Council of the University of Malta, and major force in the Malta Council of Science and Technology. And most of all, he was a CPTM member, a founder, and a Smart Partner. A full citation of Noel is available in the material that is given to you. To capture it in a summary, what Mihaila has put it very well in the painful days after Noel's passing. And I will read from what Mihaila has written. He was the archetypal Smart Partner, first-class scientist, first-class businessman, first-class civil servant, first-class director of CPTM, and first-class dialoguer and moderator. But above all, smartest provocateur. So much so that the new role in the Smart Partnership dynamics have been shaped over the last 15 years, the Noel factor. He was a first-class friend, first-class father, and husband. And may I say with humility and gratitude, my first-class sounding board on anything I would dare to think of in terms of dreaming together for CPTM and the Smart Partnership in each country. That was what Mihaila wrote soon after Noel's departure. But for me, Noel, besides being a fellow Smart Partner, he was a true friend, generous, helpful, and wise. He loved playing the role of the devil advocate, the agent provocateur, saying the outrageous, the unthinkable, that force us to think out of the box. We surely miss in his absence, the rising of the temperature, the quickening of the tempo of our meetings. Except for the outbursts from the chairman from time to time, triggered by some issues which some might say is happening unforgivably too often these days. There is only one thing wrong which he did, as far as I am concerned, and that he chose to go to Oxford rather than to Cambridge. The role Noel has played in CPTM is irreplaceable. It is for these and more that CPTM humbly offers its highest instrument of appreciation, the companionship, to our dear Noel Zabadami. We are pleased that Noel's family has agreed to honor us by accepting this companionship of CPTM in his honor and in his memory. Nobody deserves this award more than him. He epitomized all the CPTM stood for with his inimitable way of expression of his thoughts and views. He recognized how important it was that knowledge is shared, especially among those parts of the Commonwealth that was less fortunate. That part came from Martin Lang. Lastly, may your soul rest in peace, smart partner, CPTM companion, and dear friend, Noel Zabadami. You will be missed, but you will never be forgotten. Thank you.
What is the
Yeah.
Amira? Adriana.
I'd like to say thank you very, very much for offering Noel this prestigious award. I only wish that Noel was here. To CPTM, Noel, CPTM was family for him, and so CPTM is now family to us. Thank you very much.
To read the citation to our other companion, I would ask, which is Ian Downing, I'd like to introduce Cathy Cunningham. Cathy was science advisor to Margaret Thatcher's Cabinet Office. She was director of the Bristol University Graduate School, and this afternoon reflective, she was a stalwart defender, and still is, of the role and contribution of women at the forefront of science and development policy making. Cathy is an unstinting analyst of the most difficult public policy problems, with amazing vision and tenacity to battle a way through to a worthwhile solution. This makes Cathy, for me, as qualified to deliver this citation to a man who successfully grappled with how to get 16 countries to fund, I think, 320 million euros, would you believe, towards cleaning up the gigantic nuclear mess after the Chernobyl disaster, and also a whole lot of rotting nuclear submarine tombs, a heritage of the Cold War. Ian was ever confident and consistent contributor to our successful direction, and I'd like to hand over to Cathy to read the citation. Cathy, please.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mike, for the promotion. I was never the Chief Science Advisor, except for the space of a month, between one going and one coming. And during that time, I encountered the chairman of the House of Lords Committee on Science and Technology, who came up to me with a glass of wine in his hand and said, "Oh, you're the chief scientist now, aren't you?" And then 2 days later, Chernobyl happened, and that was quite a serious thing to do without a chief scientist in office. Actually, Ian Downing and I overlapped for just a few months in the Cabinet Office, because he came in as I was leaving. The Cabinet Office is full of people who go in on secondment for only 3 years, The idea is that it's a useful training ground for civil servants to come in and see what's happening at the centre of government, and then they go back out again to either wherever they've come from, if they're welcomed back, and they're not always, or somewhere else within the public service. Ian is one of the founding members of CPTM and a long-serving board member. His scientific background, experience in science and technology policy, incisive mind and commitment to the smart partnership have meant his contributions to our work have had a unique value, and it's fitting that he should be made a companion. And it's very nice that it's happening at the same time as Noel, because they were great friends, and Ian was at the farmhouse in Malta, which was one of the really important it was one of the important moves in the smart partnership movement, and he contributed a great deal to that. His career until retirement spanned over 30 years' work on science and technology policy, both in the Cabinet Office and the former DTI. He had a personal interest in complexity, and in particular the formation and evolution of self-organising network structures, which I think we like to think we are, but we're never quite sure about that. There's a certain amount of direction from the centre going on. He's made major inputs into attempting to understand and explain to others the nature of CPTM, both formally and historically. He originally qualified as a nuclear chemist and physicist before going on to spend 10 years working in government laboratories. So he was also a researcher. In 1983, he was appointed technical and personal assistant for chief engineer and scientist in the Department of Trade and Industry, and subsequently head of the department's efficiency scrutiny and management change program. Then in 1988, he came into the Cabinet Office as I left. But during his time in the Cabinet Office, and then later when he went back to the Department of Trade and Industry, he became the UK government representative to the CCGTM, which then became CPTM. And he attended the transition meetings with ComSec in moving from ComSec into being an independent company. And he was very helpful in steering that really rather difficult period. He also managed to negotiate 5 years of financial support from the UK government. Unfortunately, we were never able to get it extended, but nevertheless they continue to maintain quite a large interest in what CPTM is doing. And I think that there are many people in UK government service who are involved in one way or another with CPTM in quite important ways. On his return to the department from the Cabinet Office, he served first as Director for Research and Technology Coordination, and then in 1998 he became Director of International Nuclear Policy and Programmes. And in this latter role, until his retirement, he was responsible for establishing the UK's own unilateral programme to address nuclear legacy issues in the former Soviet Union, addressing nuclear safety, weapons, decommissioning, spent fuel and waste management, and the social and economic consequences of the nuclear plant closure. But Ian is the second person to receive a companionship who's been involved in this work. Robert Smith is another one. He's not here with us this afternoon. He's coming, and I'm sure you all know him. And I think that we can all understand the significance of this work. We're always considering the significance of S&T in so many aspects of life, but certainly the whole issue of nuclear safety is one which is important for all of us. And it is good to recognise those who are doing this, not necessarily in a very public way, but making sure that the work does go on effectively. His career offers us a glimpse into what we in CPTM might call the system, the institutional infrastructure essential to the effective working of society internationally and at the level of the state. He's made an important contribution to a scientific and technological part of that international system, crucial to the safety of all societies and to their futures. And for that, I think it is very fitting that he should be awarded a companionship. Thank you. Now, Ian, unfortunately, is not in good health at the moment, and he's not able to be here because he's actually undergoing tests in hospital. He sent us a letter.
He's all right.
Right. He sent us a letter which I'll read to you briefly, if I may. He says, "Dear Smart Partners, it's an immense honour and privilege to receive this companionship. I had hoped very much and intended to be with you all today, but everything has conspired against it, not least my failing mobility. I fear that in the words of Alexander the Great, I am dying with the help of too many doctors." He had a test today, an hour ago, for a session in the clanking MRI monster. I always wondered what the nuclear resonance spectrometer did to samples in my early days as a chemist. Soon we shall all know. I know what awful stories Kathy has told about me. I didn't know any. But I look back with great fondness upon my long active association with CPTM and its predecessor, CCGTM. I recall well the day when I was working in the Cabinet Office at the same time as Kathy, when my boss called me in and said that someone called Mihaela Smith in Commonwealth Secretariat wanted him to go to Malta to talk about assessment. He said, "You go." I said, "I know little about formal assessment." He said, "Make it up as you go along." It was a message I got in DTI, and this began my long association with Mihaela and all her good works. And I think we're all very familiar with this business of having to make it up as we go along, when we're suddenly asked to speak on something that we hadn't even been thinking about at the moment. Since standing down from the board, stop interrupting. Since standing down from the board after many years, I remain committed to CPTM. Unfortunately, mobility issues mean you will see less of me. Again, many thanks for the offer. Now onwards to the mechanical monster.
Gerald Shurdom, who was initiating more or less the companionship, will receive the
Thank you, Excellency. On behalf of Ian, thank you all very much. After what I heard, now I know why the landlady at the Cask and Glass issued those meters every time he came back from Russia. Thank you very much indeed.
Madam, thank you.
The next piece of the proceedings is something that would have been dear to Ian's heart. Kathy hadn't got any stories of Ian of that nature, but I've travelled around the world with Ian, and he had a magical way of sitting there and turning his head and nodding, and the next thing, gin and tonic appeared. Anybody that could slap a gin and tonic the way that Ian could. So, you ever felt the need for a glass? at an appropriate time, Ian was the man to be close to. He made it happen. So I hope we're going to get a chance to our companions. I don't know.
Yeah, it's coming any moment.
It's coming any moment. So there you go. We shall shortly be delivered. Mahila is going to have the last word.
Thank you very much, Mike. And here is again the CPTM Companion Awards are not like all the other things regular. They only happen when and if there are CPTM companions candidates who are being identified by the current companions, proposed and put forward to the CPTM board of directors, who are actually deciding about which of the candidates. So, but the initiation is to all the current CPTM companions, including heads of government, former heads of government, to propose companions, if there are any of that yet. So it's not a regular thing. It just happened that this year there were these two companions who were since Dar es Salaam and since August proposed by companions, and the CPTM board in September, when they had their board meeting, they agreed with that. What we haven't done, and probably we should have done right at the beginning before we started the AGM, in the presence of the Deputy Prime Minister and the members, is to actually identify who are the members of the board. And we do know those that we elected, but who are they besides their faces? So I'd like to start from that side. So maybe yourself, you introduce yourself and you say you are, what director you are or alternate director.
Yes, I'll quickly say I'm Kunya Itinochkiwe. I'm sure we all know each other. And I'm alternate to Mr. Lekoma Motivatselo.
But what do you represent?
I represent the Smart 29er link, and hopefully we'll have a lot more of us within the board pretty soon. Thanks.
Lekoma Motivatselo, from Botswana. I'm a director representing network members.
I'm Caleb Fundanga from Zambia. I'm alternate.
To represent which category?
I represent financial institutions. I would say central banks, because I got involved when I was working on financial inclusion when I was governor of the central bank in Zambia. So that's part of what I've been doing in the CPTM.
So you are alternate to Ambassador Barry?
No. So as we are balanced, my director is a lady.
Okay, my name is Deuta Larangolo. I am from Namibia, representing the financial contributing government.
Okay. Next, Gideon.
My name is Gideon Makalela. I represent the financial contributing on public and private sector.
Who are the alternates?
Alternate is I don't know what is here.
Here. What is the alternate? Your alternate? Director? Sorry? Jan Verlu just had to catch the plane. So, next one.
I'm Andrew Tausig, and I'm representing networking members, along with my alternate, Shara Akalungi from Uganda. Gwenya is fellow Smart 29er. And because I represent networking members, I want to say now that I fully support the things that both Kathy and Helena were saying, and I hope that there will be action on that front in the next 12 months.
You're at Club 29, eh?
I'm younger than that. I'm Barry Four. I represent financially contributing governments. And I'm from Seychelles.
Who is your alternate?
My alternate is John Mayer. John Mayer.
Who is
From the
Mongolia?
I'm Hassan Shulgum. I represent the private and public sector. I was an alternate to the late Noel, and my alternate is Professor Sam. He's bigger than me, keeps me in touch. And then I really support what Andrew said about the gender thing, but like I said last time, I keep wondering, I think Omar is wrong. I think she's equivalent to a whole battalion. I think we're overbalanced, but we will support your idea.
Professor Chan, just a moment. You present yourself as the alternate.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I thought that we introduced I'm Professor Sam Jamika from Uganda. I'm the alternate director for public and private sector.
Next, George, so the leader. Nobody himself. You are director.
What about Lennox?
You are Okay, we are continuing with the directors and finish. We have the top. We can start from the other round. So now
Off and running. My name is Lennox Lewis. I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and I am an alternate director to W2N1, representing Covenant. Thank
you. My name is Chuing Guan from Malaysia, and I represent the permanent members who are private sector members who have contributed to the endowment fund. And we're together.
I mean, you don't know me. I'm representing a networker, and my alternate is Dr. George Castillo.
I'm George, I'm from Cyprus, and I've been a member of CPTM even before it was established.
Thank you very much, and now a toast. Both for...
To raise a toast to the new companion, I went through a process of fast and slow thinking. My fast thinking went to the toast that was given 200 years ago in Moscow. And to introduce it, when Napoleon was there, and before he reached Moscow, his influence was not only on the hemisphere of Europe and the known world, but his influence was also on the other hemisphere in Canada, in America. So, in Moscow, they were celebrating his victory. And after he had a few vodkas, he was feeling a bit different. And he said, I'm going to raise a toast to all the beautiful girls of the two hemispheres. And what I'm going to say, I'll ask the ladies to excuse me. One of the younger officers stood up and said, General, with your permission, I drink to the two hemispheres of all the beautiful girls. Thinking slow, I thought that I should say something different. Now, both Noel and Ian were good friends of mine, and they are good friends of mine. And Noel is his soul is here. Ian, his spirit is here. So I raise a toast to the long-lasting memory of Noel. And a toast to our friend Ian, wishing him speedy recovery, who is in spirit with us.
What's good health in Maltese then?
Saha.
Sorry?
Saha.
So this is Saha.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we all give class, may I suggest a toast for our chairman, Dr. Omar. Dr. Omar is one of Dr. Omar is one of two persons I think they should be at Buckingham Palace every week being decorated. One, the other guy is her husband. The first one is Omar.
Before we have a final toast,
The last one.
the Deputy Prime Minister, there are some smart greetings to Tansioma from New York. Virginia Gamba is in New York at the UN right now, and she wants to make an intervention. Virginia, you're welcome.
My pleasure. Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to join you. Pity I don't have one of your drinks in my hand. But I just wanted to be with you, particularly because I also have come a long, long way since 1987 with Michaela. One of the first persons I met was Dr. Omar, me in the institution. We've been everywhere, in Malaysia, in Malta, in Africa together. And it just feels like it's yesterday. And I wanted to thank him and to honor him on his birthday, but also to thank him here from New York. I am now the director for development of the Office for Development Affairs at the United Nations Secretariat, and I'm dedicated to the High Representative.
Women.
Well done, well done.
Thank you. Yes, I hope the world is going to be a safer place with what I do here, but I do know that the world is a safer and more intelligent place. Ever since Dr. Omar has really, I met him 2 years after he was the science advisor for the President of Malaysia, and I have to say that the whole idea of science and research of humanity is something I learned from him and from CPTM and partnership. And I learned a lot. And for these, I've learned about cooperative resourcing, the power of cooperation. It's been a very long walk, a long road for me. But I've learned respect. And I've learned respect for all the countries I engaged in, which has helped me today in my job. And all of that I take back to the very first meetings that I attended with Dr. Omar. So, Omar, happy birthday, and thank you, Omar. Omar, happy
Thank you.
Can I just tell you one thing which you may not know? Today is Mihaila's name day.
Oh, that's much better.
Happy name day. You want to know how old I am? Yes! I am 18.
I would like, on behalf of everybody here, to raise my glass and to toast to the good health of His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister of Namibia.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Prime Minister,
Yes.
I come from the Labour movement.
Yes, me
And
too.
in the Labour movement, we say to the wolves that never hear.
I thought it was Workers Unite. I thought it was Workers Unite.
Oh, because the struggle never ends, you